Hello and a very warm welcome to this edition of Agenda. In Agenda, we are going to, of course, talk about all the important things that are listed in today's list of business. Well, of course, there are some important legislations which have been listed for quite some time but have been dropped due to continuous disruptions that we've been witnessing in the last 2 days. And also some important questions related to the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, and also to the Ministry of Mines, Health and Family Welfare are listed. So we'll talk about all of that in this edition of Agenda. Joining me in the program is Mr. Rajaya Sirsilla from Congress. I'm also joined by Dr. Kiritbhai Solanki from the BJP and Mr. S.K. Saidul Haq from the CPIM. And very shortly, we'll also be joined by Mr. Baijayant Panda from the BJD. Let's start the discussion with you, Dr. Solanki. Since disruptions has become a regular phenomenon, of course, not much has happened in the last 2 days. Besides that, the parliamentarians expressed their concern over what happened to an Arunachal Pradesh boy here in Delhi. But looking at the situation, do you see that Congress, with such a heavy agenda of pushing forth bills, would be able to take it through? Because your party made it very clear that they are not really going to allow a very smooth functioning of the House.
See, this is the last session of the Parliament of the 15th Lok Sabha. But if you see last 3 consecutive sessions, the House is constantly being disturbed. And the main factor of the disturbance is not from the opposition, mainly. The main principal opposition party, that is the Bharatiya Janata Party. The disruption is from the Treasury bench, from the Congress itself. And mainly on the issue of the Telangana. The pro-Telangana MPs and United Andhra MPs, they are coming in the veil. They are showing the banners, the different sorts of demonstration, shoutings. I think House is not running. See, if you have seen yesterday or day before yesterday, our Bharatiya Janata Party MPs were sitting quietly on their seats. They were not shouting also. But the entire thing is, and the most difficult and serious thing is, the member of parliament from Congress party are asking for the no confidence motion on their own government. I think what sort of democracy and what sort of parliament is functioning? It's a matter of, regarding the Northeast, that boy, the student was killed. See, the Sushma Swaraj has given, our leader of opposition, she had given a notice of adjournment of the question hour. At the same time, one MOS, Minister of State from Congress, has also given the notice. I think this is not the sort of as per the rules, and the entire thing is because of Congress. Congress is not able to manage their own members.
Mrs. Sirsilla, much of it is also pertaining to regarding the issue of Andhra Pradesh, its division. You come from Andhra Pradesh, and of course Congress is facing a lot of crisis even within the party due to a lot of division, even among the Andhra Pradesh leaders. How do you respond? How would you like to respond to the issue of Telangana and, of course, the management that Congress should have done?
Thank you, ma'am. I come from Telangana region of Andhra Pradesh.
That's right.
See, this is the oldest demand pending since past 60 years. And it was earlier, it was merged into this. Hyderabad was a separate state identity, and Simandra got separate state. That state was merged on the basis of the language. And since then, ever since their merger, the Telangana people wanted to get separated because of this economic variations, disparities, and social disparities and all. This movement was going on. And it took 60 years. And we must find a way out. To sort out this issue or kill this issue. This will, if this 15th Lok Sabha, again it may raise up.
But are you convinced with the way the government tried to find a solution to this problem?
Yeah, see, as far as Congress party is concerned, they are trying to bring the people on board. But nowadays, democracy is more being utilized, overutilized, and because of that, though party took a decision,
Okay.
UPA took a decision. It is not the responsibility of the responsible member of parliament and the minister MOS to respond to the government when he is a part of the government,
Right.
when he is a part of the Congress party.
Right.
Still, people are behaving like this. It is an unfortunate. And they doesn't have any mindset to resolve the issue. See, if done one day or other, it has to be resolved. It's after all our own country, and we are living with a federal system. We'll have to find out the way. None else than us. We'll have to do our own.
We'll have to do something about it.
Yeah.
But whether it was a very thought-out decision, was it very timely? Were enough consultations done? Was something which was apprehended, let's say in this case too, that this would emerge to be something which most of the MPs would not really agree with? Mr. Panda, how do you look at the way the Congress has handled, or in a way, as many would say, mishandled the whole case?
We must realize there are two issues here. One is constitutional propriety and the other is the merit of the case, and both are important. Now, the constitutional propriety has been mishandled in such a bad way that beyond Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, it is going to have a lasting negative effect in the country for many, many years to come, because they have put the cart before the horse. First was the government announcement 3 years ago, and then it came to assembly. And now you see this very unseemly happenings in Parliament. Now, we have had divisions of states in this country very amicably. Only 10, 12 years ago, we had 3 new states created. There was no disruption either in Parliament or in Assembly. There was no protest on the street. You must understand why. Because the process was followed. See, the merit is important, and Telangana may have its merits, but the process and constitutional propriety is also very important. In the earlier 3 cases, the case was made to the people of the state. It was discussed in public. It was discussed in media. They had back-channel discussions with all stakeholders. Then first, the state assemblies passed unanimous resolutions in favor of it. Then it came to Parliament. And finally, government took a decision. Now, the way it has been handled is so bad that it reeks of politicization. You know, if the announcement was made 3 years ago, then it was stop and start and stop and start, only to suit what the ruling party thought was favorable to it in the election campaign.
Right.
That is not how this is to be done. It's very, very unfortunate the manner in which it has gone. Now, about the merits of Telangana, there may be merits, and we should talk about it. And there are aspirations of the people of that region. There are the Simhandra people also have been making their case. We must see these two things separately. They are both important. But the manner in which constitutional propriety has been trampled by this government is going to leave a negative effect. Because now, yes, it is true that Parliament can take a decision overriding a state. But that does not mean it is proper. That does not mean it should be done like that. Because in future, you never know what kind of a government is here. And if a particular state is not suiting its political requirement, they will split it even if there is no demand in the state for splitting it.
Right. Mr. Haq, your take on this issue.
No, I do agree with Mr. Panda. It is because that, first of all, regarding the disruptions, it is the Congress handling of the situation. Remember what Mr. Solanki has already told, that I do not know whether government has the political will that the House should run. Because it is the government's lapse. They are MPs, one side Simandra, another side Telangana. And rightly, 3 years back, nobody told, but Chidambaram told in the House in December 2009 that separate Telangana will be formed. Then it is stopped. One commission, Sri Krishna Commission was formed. That recommendation was given with number of options. Then it is stopped. All on a sudden, just to get the political mileage, they raised this issue. So it is total failure of the handling of the situation. And this should not be done, because rightly it is been observed that if Telangana is, we are against forming, dividing Andhra Pradesh. If Telangana is formed, then in West Bengal, in my state, Gorkhaland, that will demand.
That's right. There's
in
several
Vidarbha, they will demand.
Bundelkhand,
they will demand. A number of demands will come.
Here my point is, it is a case of demerger. It is not a new state.
No, Mr. Silsila, I remember that in 1956, already after the gentleman's agreement.
After independence, the Andhra was separately stated, which was having a separate state. It functioned for more than 7 years.
The BJP had asked for a special kind of package to be provided to the Simandra region so that at least the bifurcation of the state becomes a very justifiable thing to do. What about the cabinet proposal of giving a special package to Simandra, and also the take that one can bring from all the meetings that have happened, which says that Hyderabad can be a joint capital for the next 10 years and a few other things. How do you look at all those things, Dr. Solanki?
One thing just to add here, they are raising the issue of backwardness of Telangana region. The backwardness of a region cannot be the cause for dividing that proportion.
See, you are misunderstanding this. It is a self-rule, self-respect. Over the past 60 years, people of Telangana have been discriminated like anything. So after 47 years, 38 years, these Simandra people ruled my state. No chance at all. Lot of discrimination, I cannot spell out now, so time is not sufficient. Lot of discrimination. The difference between the other states' formation and this state is only one, because in and around Hyderabad, there was huge number of Muslim properties. At the time of independence, they left out the property and went away. And second time, when the Nizam state was merged into the Indian Union, the Muslim people, brothers, they left the huge properties and they left away. So this quantity of almost 40,000 acres of land is being illegally taken out by these people, Simandra people. Their very doubt is, even after formation of Telangana, their fear is the Telangana government may reopen this. That is the crux of the problem. In general, people of Simandra, that is downtrodden people, BCs, OBCs and the SC, STs, they doesn't want to this thing. Only few people, handful of people who got the acres of land
don't you see,
around Hyderabad.
Mr. Silsila,
See, in case of Bihar,
the fissures that have grown internally between people in the mines, how can one address those things? Because after all, it's turning very violent there.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was the Telangana, people from Telangana protesting, or now it's the Simandra employees there who are somewhere working in Hyderabad, they are protesting, they are on strike. How do you look at the situation? And again, I'll come back to the same question. Do you see that the Congress, in a way, has not been able to handle it properly?
See, here my point, I wanted to make it clear. The in and around Hyderabad, huge quantity of properties, these people, they took away. That is number one.
Yes.
This is not the case in other states where states formed, bifurcation happened. That is number one. Number two, see, this is a self-rule and self-respect. And number three, if the package to develop them, to give some remission or concessions, see, we are there to support that also. That exercise is going on.
Dr. Solanki, very quickly.
See, as far as the merit of the separate state of the Telangana is concerned, there is merit. We are not opposing it. But the way this issue is handled by the Congress, it is absolutely unconstitutional, and it is for the interest of winning the election. That is, the 2014 election is coming. Hence, hastily this decision is taken, and because of this haste, because of this violation of the constitution, this condition has emerged against the country. I think it's a pitiable thing. See, we should give the package. We should keep the people of both the part satisfied. See, I agree with Panda ji. During the NDA regime, see, 3 states were formed, and there was very smooth sort of a working. Why you can't do like this? Because the motive was to win the 2014 election. It was the vested motive, and it has created all this.
There has always been vested motive. I mean, much has been said even about the NDA rule, when you had TDP as your ally and who never supported the cause of Telangana, which is why you never went ahead with that.
That's why we have dropped.
So I think let's take it for granted that every political party has
take out the politics outside and we look at
has to really follow those
it's
calculations.
Important to note, I don't want to go further into this except to say that yes, of course, every political party wants to gain in the elections, but it should not be at the cost of unity of a state or unity of the country. In the other examples, when 3 states were carved out a dozen years ago, the parties at the center did not gain from it. They did not benefit from that. It was other parties who benefited. So let's not say that every division has been done based on political selfishness. That is not true. Here, political priority has been given higher priority than the aspirations of the local people.
Because Telangana in any case, sir, is a separate case. I mean, you really can't compare it with any other divisions or any other small state formations that we have seen in this country. We'll take a very quick break now, because instead of watching such discussions happening in the parliament, we often see them in the studios. Why the parliament doesn't function, as well as those very little number of bills that have been cleared in the last 5 years as compared to what we have seen in the previous Lok Sabhas and the pending legislations. We'll talk about that. Very quick break now.
अंकल, हम आपको रोड क्रॉस करवा दें?
अंधे हो क्या?
अरे भैया, मुझे तो भगवान ने आंखें नहीं दी हैं, पर आप तो आंखें होते हुए भी अंधों जैसा बर्ताव क्यों कर रहे हो?
अंकल, आपको जेब्रा क्रॉसिंग नजर नहीं आई क्या?
हमेशा गाड़ी चलाते समय जेब्रा क्रॉसिंग पर पैदल यात्रियों का ध्यान रखें। पहले पैदल यात्रियों को सड़क पार करने दें। ये चालक की जिम्मेदारी है। सड़क पर संयम से काम लें, सुरक्षित रहें, दूसरों को भी सुरक्षित रखें।
मिट्टी से ही पहचान, तो बनिए हिस्सा नेशनल पॉपुलेशन रजिस्टर का। कैंप्स शुरू हो चुके हैं। राष्ट्रीय जनसंख्या रजिस्टर, मेरी पहचान, मेरा अभिमान।
Leaders around the world.
I'm with a very special person.
Their policies.
We have the necessary infrastructure in place.
Their views.
India is a successful story. We need to give serious attention.
Latest issues.
जनता विरोध क्यों करते हैं?
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ 33 से कम नहीं चलेगा.
Questions that matter.
Trade between Commonwealth countries and all. There is no growth as such.
Answers for the people.
ब्लॉक लेवल पर आम जनता से संपर्क करके small parties are coming up.
Broadening the conversation.
We don't have to destroy the constitutional apparatus.
लोगों की अपेक्षाएं बहुत बढ़ गई.
In talks with Rajiv Mishra every Saturday 8 p.m. in special guest only on Lok Sabha television.
सरला, बच्चे को जन्म के तुरंत बाद 1 घंटे के अंदर स्तनपान जरूर शुरू करा देना। माँ का पहला पीला गाढ़ा दूध यानी कोलेस्ट्रम बच्चे को बीमारियों से दूर रखता है और विटामिन ए व प्रोटीन भी भरपूर मात्रा में देता है। और हाँ, शिशु को पहले 6 महीने केवल अपना दूध ही पिलाना, उसके अलावा और कुछ भी न देना।
याद रखें, 6 महीने की आयु तक माँ का दूध ही शिशु के लिए सर्वोत्तम और संपूर्ण पोषण होता है।
Welcome back. Now we'll also talk about the pending legislations. Remember, the right of citizens for services and redressal of grievances Bill 2011, as well as the prevention of bribery of foreign public officials Bill 2011 has been listed in the business for quite some days now. It's again there today. But the most important thing is that if the House doesn't function at all, what really happens to those pieces of legislations? Mr. Panda, what would you like to say about this growing trend of not allowing the House to function? Of course, every issue is important, whether it's the issue of Telangana or it's some sort of crime happening in a street of Delhi. Every issue is certainly important. But what about these bills, these legislations? One can't say that it's just the ruling party who should be blamed for this, because after all, the onus rests with all the legislators sitting in the parliament.
I would like to say that, I have spoken many times on your show as well as other shows, and I have written many op-eds, and I've suggested certain rules reforms in parliament to ensure that it functions better. Today we operate by a system of consensus. There are 40 parties. Anybody that is agitated about something creates a ruckus and parliament gets adjourned. I agree that blame can be apportioned across all parties, but the ruling party bears a little extra responsibility because it is their responsibility to run the House. And this particular disruption that is happening is entirely within the ruling party. It is, what we were just talking about regarding the Telangana dispute. These reforms will take time and we need to build consensus. In any case, this parliament has ended. It's not going to do reforms. But I would like to appeal to all members of parliament, whether Telangana, Simandra, my colleagues, of course, we are not disrupting, we have not disrupted, Congress, BJP, everybody. Let me give you one example. We have discussed this on this show earlier before. There's a very tiny amendment bill called the Narcotics and Psychotropic Drugs Bill.
Right.
It's a tiny little amendment which will make available pain management drugs to cancer patients. There are 25 lakh patients in India who are suffering. They don't have easy access to this pain management drug. It will take, even if you discuss it properly, thoroughly, it will take very, very few minutes. I would appeal to all parties that put aside the contentious issues. Let us for 1 week, let us say that let us not discuss the contentious issues. Let us discuss these issues which are critical for millions of Indian citizens. There is another one like whistleblowers bill. I don't think any party opposes it because we have seen such corruption scandals. The government says it wants to tackle it, opposition wants to tackle it. Whistleblowers bill will give protection to people who expose these scams from inside the system. These are very crucial bills. Now, it's very sad that politicization of these issues has become so much that nobody is willing to cede even 15 minutes of time to pass these bills. So that is what I would like to appeal to all my colleagues in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that even if we just set aside 1 or 2 days for some of these crucial bills which are totally non-controversial but will help millions of Indians, then we can continue to discuss how to handle the contentious issues like Telangana, and we can discuss about how to reform parliamentary rules so that we don't have this kind of hung parliament.
Dr. Solanki, would you associate yourself with what he said?
No, I fully agree. The House, the platform of the House is for discussion, for debating and constituting the law. We fully agreed. But unfortunately, see, I agree with Mr. Panda. We should be unanimous in such things. But if you see the 15th Lok Sabha, the entire tenure of the 15th Lok Sabha, the disruption was the major things in the 15th Lok Sabha as compared to previous one. What was the cause? See, once upon a time in 2G spectrum, the case, entire winter session was washed out.
Right, sir.
And on very next day, very next session, the first day, they accepted the demand of the JPC. Why they can't accept the demand on that time also? So the treasury bench
is, generally, let's face it, that it's basically the issues which could be central to a certain thing, maybe related to a particular region of the country or something, which the members want that for that the question hour should be adjourned, that issue must be taken up. Every time, as a member of parliament from the BJP, you can't really say that it's the treasury benches, it's the people from the ruling party doing the same thing. Of course, Telangana is one case, but there have been numerous incidents where you've seen even the
you see the different
it.
issue of the corruptions. See, we become a silent spectator and debate on the bills, and we can ignore the gross.
But you're not allowing
corruption.
the bills to even get cleared from the parliament. That's where comes one of the problems, Mrs. Estella. There are a lot of important things which the Congress said they would like to do. Which was, of course, a part of the reform agenda, whether it's the anti-corruption bills, it's the food security bill, the land acquisition, and many more. There are certain economic bills also which are lying. There are several bills relating to the HRD ministry which are lying pending. But all this looks very good on paper. When you're not able to take it through, it certainly affects you very badly. Is there no realization of the sort in the party?
So this is an unfortunate fate of the parliament. Will need to do something on this. Every day the order of the day has become disturbance, creation of disturbance has become order of the day with some issue or the other issue. No doubt Telangana issue is a strong issue, it is a genuine issue, it is going on, this is a different story. But other issues also, whether it is regional, sub-regional and one single point, these all parties, they are making nuisance and not doing their job in a manner in which the country wanted.
Okay,
People wanted.
okay.
See, after all, it's our own democracy, and we are running the members, honorable members. I don't want to find out anyone. The members of the parliament are the rulers of this country. We will have to frame our own rule and implement it. Responsible parliament members, responsible party people, they must make good of themselves. See, we cannot hand it over to someone and rule.
Are we really behaving responsibly? Let me take a very quick view from you also, because a lot of economic bills are pending. We were waiting for to see some reforms in the form of GST, DTC, even the insurance sector reform. All remains pending now, and it seems that only the next government can now take care of it.
No, the point that is raised that 39 bills are pending. Some bills are very important, which is not debatable, as for example, whistleblowers bills or other bills.
72 bills out of the 126 bills.
This session for 39 bills have been listed.
Okay.
No, but the question is, I have every doubt whether the government itself wants that the House should run. This is because, remember the one thing, that who are making the disruptions. At one time, 6 TDP MP and other MPs were suspended and House run. Now this time, one no confidence motion is there. Government wants that no confidence motion should not be discussed. So it is the government policy that their MPs should come from dividing in two ways and disrupt the House. They do not want that no confidence motion should be discussed. Otherwise, government should have done. And I am sorry to tell that this parliamentary affairs minister has no capability how to handle this situation. If that is so, important bills like farmers issue or black money issue or narcotic bills or whistleblowers bills, judicial accountability bill, particularly women reservation bill that they have promised and that has already been passed in Rajya Sabha, all these things are pending. This is not at all right on the part of the government.
Very quickly.
Every time we are centering on the Telangana issue, disturbance. So if you take out the past 5 years of this term, how many hours were disturbed on Telangana issue? How many hours were disturbed other than Telangana issue? That is number one.
No, if that now you tell, in the 2G case, we accepted it at the last.
This is one.
This
is the one. This is the one. This is one. So let me quickly complete. This 14th Lok Sabha also, let us compare with that. Where there is no Telangana issue. How many hours we worked functionally smoothly? How many hours we have disturbed? So we must arrive at a point, as Panda said rightly, we must formulate reforms and let us follow it with consciousness so that the things can be discussed in a proper way.
Very quickly, Mr.
You know, I have suggested several reforms which, if we can build consensus, will help Parliament to function. Just one example. In UK, in the Parliament, every week, they have 1 day set aside for agenda to be set by opposition. You see, many of the disruption happens because opposition wants to discuss some issue like inflation or maybe a border incursion, which government is uncomfortable and doesn't want to allow, which is why you have disruption. But if you set aside 1 day a week, like England does in their parliament, where opposition will set the agenda, that this is what we want to discuss, then the parliament should be a forum for all these angst, all the repressed frustrations to be discussed.
That's right.
Because you're repressing that, you are having all this confrontation. So this is one example of reform that we should have, and there are many others that can be done.
Okay, on that note, we'll take a very quick break in agenda. Please stay tuned for more on the other side of this break.
Raindrops are falling on my head. जैसे कोई प्यार की फुहार छुए मुझे बहती रहे मौसम में है रवानी जिंदगी बनी सुहानी।
बारिश का मजा तो सब लेते हैं, पर बारिश का पानी बचाने की बात कौन सोचता है। बारिश के पानी का संरक्षण करें और जिंदगी का यूं ही मजा लेते रहें।
पप्पू एक सॉलिड हीरो है, समझे सबको ये जीरो है। पप्पू की जीन्स कमाल है, पप्पू की वॉच कमाल, पर पप्पू सुन नहीं सकता। क्यों बहरा है? हथेली पे जान है, कानों में हेडफोन ऑन है। पप्पू था एक सॉलिड हीरो।
पप्पू ना बने। सड़क पर चलते समय मोबाइल और हेडफोन्स का प्रयोग ना करें। सड़क नियमों का पालन करें। जिंदगी आपकी है, सोचना आपको है।
Leaders around the world.
I'm with a very special person.
Their policies.
We have the necessary infrastructure in place.
Their views.
India is a successful story. We need to give serious attention.
Latest issues.
ज्यादा विरोध क्यों करते हैं? मैं तो कह रहा हूँ 33 से कम नहीं चलेगा।
Questions that matter.
Trade between Commonwealth countries and all. There is no growth as such.
Answers for the people.
ब्लॉक लेवल पर आम जनता से संपर्क करके small parties are coming up.
Broadening the conversation.
We don't have to destroy it to the constitutional apparatus.
लोगों की अपेक्षाएं बहुत बढ़ गई।
In talks with Rajiv Mishra every Saturday 8 p.m. in special guest only on Lok Sabha television.
4, 5, 6 पंजे
30।
अरे वाह, दिमाग तो हवाई जहाज थे।
हवाई जहाज नहीं, रॉकेट।
हाँ, रॉकेट। राकेट जी कहाँ?
अम्मा खेत में आई है।
जा रख ले। मुन्नी बीमार जो होने वाली है।
बीमार
नहीं होगी, खुले में शौच करेगी, उस पे मंडराएंगी मक्खियाँ। फिर वही मक्खियाँ तेरे बनाए खाने पर बैठ उसे दूषित करेंगी और मुन्नी को बीमार।
ये तो बड़ी दूर की सोची आपने।
तू भी सोच, घर में शौचालय बनवा और इस्तेमाल कर।
शुरू कर निर्मल भारत अभियान।
जहाँ सोच वहाँ शौचालय।
तेरे देश की मिट्टी तुझे पुकारे, भारत का वासी है तू, बात ये गर्व से बतला रे। ओ जुड़ जा
मिट्टी से ही शान, मिट्टी से ही पहचान, तो बनिए हिस्सा नेशनल पॉपुलेशन रजिस्टर का। कैंप्स शुरू हो चुके हैं। राष्ट्रीय जनसंख्या रजिस्टर, मेरी पहचान, मेरा अभिमान।
Now, we'll take a look at all the important questions that are likely to be raised in the question hour today. Of course, there's something related to the interest rates on agricultural loans. The interest subvention scheme, which was extended to 2013 and 2014, the government is implementing this interest subvention scheme since 2006 and 7. And in fact, the benefits of this interest subvention is available to small and marginal farmers. But the point is that whether our farmers really enjoy the kind of facilities that they should be getting in a country which reaps so much out of the agrarian economy, that's something which we don't need to forget, because let's not forget this too, that there's a government report which says that about 2.90 lakh farmers, they committed suicide between 1995 to 2011, and most of them are actually the small and the marginalized farmers. I would like to start with you, Mr. Panda. What would you like to really say about all the things which have been given to the farmers in the form of making the entire process of agricultural loans, providing them a little easier? But has it been providing some sort of relief to the farmers in our country?
Let's first look at the big picture. You know, we have a situation where 53% of the population is involved in farming, but farming contributes less than 14% of the GDP of the country. This is not sustainable. This is a prescription for poverty. We have to get out of this trap. So we have to find alternative careers, alternative jobs for the children of farmers. You cannot have more than half the population in a sector which is only less than 1/6 of the GDP. Now, there are some short-term SOPs like farm loan waivers, for instance. Yes, if there is a desperate situation, some funding has been given, but even that has been badly managed. The CAG report has pointed out serious flaws in how the farm loan waivers have taken place. So basically, what does that mean? It means that the really destitute farmers are not getting the benefit. It is the better off farmers, the richer farmers, the land-owning farmers who are getting these benefits.
Right.
So that is a serious problem we have to address, but we have to reform the sector. Now, India is a large economy, and yet in agricultural products, it is not united. So we have very antiquated APMC laws. Recently, this government has announced some initiative, but it's too late in the day and too little. Only I think their ruling parties, states are beginning to discuss how to do it. We have to have an all-India plan where we have an all-India market, so that if there is a shortage in one area, there is a surplus in another area. There should be no hurdles to move, let us say, onions from a surplus area to a deficit area, or potatoes from a surplus area to a deficit area. We have all these self-created hurdles which are acting as brakes to the farming sector. So my final comment is this, that we need to restructure this sector, and we have to make very fundamental reforms. In between, whatever financial reliefs are given in terms of interest waiver and all that, we have to again do it differently, because what we are doing is not helping the really poor farmers.
Okay. But you know, Dr. Solanki, what is very important here is the fact that not many leaders, even while campaigning for elections, are talking about the agriculture sector. There's not really a good number of things that they are talking about the farmers as to what kind of respite they're going to get back to the farmers. Because farmers, let's face it, in our country are really suffering. Many of them, according to the NSSO report, would like to quit farming if they are given another chance. Why is it that we keep talking about building new avenues, ensuring that they get some jobs, ensuring that they are rehabilitated? Why is it that we can't, inject a new life into the agriculture sector?
I think the agriculture sector of the India, see, it is the main sector on which the Indian economy is resting, apart from industry and other things also. Unfortunately, see, our approach is very lethargic toward this thing. We are not able to give the real benefit to the farmers. We talk more about the farmers, but the actual delivery to the farmers is not going on. And for that reason, see, we welcome the interest subvention scheme. We welcome it. It is a very good scheme for the farmers, but it is not being implemented properly. As CAG has told, so many irregularities took place, and the real benefit has not reached to the farmers. And here I will again say, see, it says that the election manifesto should not be there for this thing. It was that this farmer interest subvention scheme was there. It was for the election benefit. It was not intended to have a real targeted delivery to the farmers. So we should introspect ourselves, and we should see it should
What
reach
kind of a promise are you now going to provide to the farmers this time?
The farmers should get, the interest rate should be even still lower down. We should provide the adequate fertilizers to the farmers. We should provide. They should get the real reward of their products also. They are not getting the rewards. Many a time we see the potatoes are destroyed, the tomatoes are destroyed. So this sorts of scheme should not be there.
That is because
and
the
food
stock
processing industry, it is developing at the rate of less than 2% in India, while in rest of the countries it is around more than 50% or 60%. So we should strengthen the food processing industry, and it's a backbone for the farmers also.
Mr. Sisila, how to make agriculture a profitable business here? Something which the governments have really failed to do.
Yeah. Today, this interest waiver or loan waiver, see, for some time we must provide to the farmers. That is one area, but it is not the permanent solution. The moment we see the agriculture, it is a game with the monsoon.
We have made it so, actually. We have not been able to provide...
it is a gain with the monsoon.
Provide 12 months, irrigation. We have not been able to provide enough irrigation facilities.
So if you look at the rainfall size, we are comfortable. Almost 1200 mm rainfall we are receiving on an average. So only 10 to 15% we are utilizing, rest going waste. And we could not able to store whatever the rainfall that we are getting in our country. That is number one. Providing irrigation water will solve all the problems of this thing. See, giving an oxygen for one time will not sustain for a longer period. So there must be a plan to stop more water on surface so that the agriculture will become. That is number one. Number two is the small holdings. See, number of people engaged in this, and because of the small holdings of that anyway we cannot do it, but we'll have to think on that. And the third area is the cropping pattern. See, sometimes tomato has been sold 2 rupees, and after some time it is 20 rupees. So we know where the crop, where the requirement of the domestic requirement of my place. So let us plan in a such a way that it matches to that requirement.
We are forcing farmers in Vidarbha to go grow GM BT cotton. I think that's a crime, and any government should avoid doing such things. These are terrible mistakes, these are blunders, and we should stop it right away. But we have not been able to do it. Mr. Haq, please put your comments here.
No, this is a very important issue because the plight of the farmers all over the country is very miserable. And we are raising the issues for a number of days, particularly our parties. Now, what is the important question is that if you like to raise this situation and come out of this miserable condition of the farmer, and you have mentioned correctly that NSS survey told that 40% of the farmers then now like to come out from the farming coming. Now, the reason is that four things. Four things must be done. One, that proper seeds should be given on the part of the government, not depending on the multinationals like GM seeds. Number two, irrigation facilities. Still, we have 42% land irrigated. Other land are dependent on monsoon. This should not be done.
True.
Number three is the fertilizer. What we are doing, government fertilizer factories are closed and it has been left to the private players. And they are demanding huge amount. And the next important is the MSP. That is minimum support price. Why government is not accepting Swaminathan Commission recommendations? Still today. This government has established from this Swaminathan Commission, but they are not doing the same thing. And last one is about the marketing, how to market these kind of things. Now here I like to tell about the interest subvention scheme, particularly that banks have been given the priority sector, particularly in the case of giving loan to the farmers. But what the bank is doing, government is targeting, that target is never fulfilled. Even whatever the debt waiver scheme, farm debt waiver scheme was undertaken, 52,000 crore was sanctioned. And you know that CAG report tells 67% of the total account got undue benefits. If you go through it, how great scam was done there. And government at one time promised that they will give loan to the farmers at the rate of 4%. Still that was not done. So that five things should be done. Proper credit from the banks as a priority sector with 4% interest. Number two, proper seed. Number three, irrigation. Number four, fertilizer.
That's
and
right.
number fifth, MSP. That should be done for the farmers. If we like to stop this kind of suicide. Even in my state, West Bengal also, there are 90 farmers committed suicide. This thing never happened in the past.
Right. But Mr. Panda, very quickly, do you see that farmers' agriculture sector, they should be in fact the prime focus of any government coming to power? In fact, why not really make it a part of the election manifesto and have in fact a part dedicated of the campaigning speech dedicated to these farmers? Why not? I mean, people would certainly like to see if there is some sort of respite going to be brought to the agriculture sector. Because if they are happy, let's face it, even the consumers would be happy.
For 67 years, I think most, if not all parties have been giving lip service to farmers and agriculture sector. If you're talking about manifestos, in fact, all election manifestos contain words about helping the agricultural sector. But when it comes to actual concrete actions, most of the things that we look at are all palliatives. Loan waivers may be necessary to bail out desperate farmers, but they will not help to improve the farming sector. Loan waivers may be, as I said, should be better implemented so that the really destitute farmers don't commit suicide or are not left completely stranded. But we have to start improving our farming sector, which cannot be done just by wishing that age-old practices will continue. We have to invest in irrigation. We have to invest in restructuring the sector so that integration of the market takes place. We have to, now one of the things that is happening is automation is coming in. Now because of rural employment scheme and also because of increase in rural incomes, it is difficult to get labor also. It's an ironic situation. On the one hand, farmers are suffering. On the other hand, labor is not available. But we should not think that automation coming into farming is a bad thing. You know, that's the wrong way to look at it. The right way to look at it is we have to improve productivity, and productivity cannot be improved only by manual labor. You have to bring in automation. And you have to invest in all these things, and separately, you have to find alternative means of livelihood for the children of farmers, because it should not be our aspiration that the children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren of farmers will continue to be only manual laborers. We should ensure that we invest properly in their education. We should ensure that we have more investment in industry. We should ensure we have more investment in other kinds of activities in which they can economically improve.
Okay, on that note, we'll take a very quick break now in Agenda. Please stay tuned for more.
श्यामू देखो फिर आ रहा है, नया टीवी मांगेगा। मैं निकलता हूँ, तू टाल दियो।
जरा रुकिए।
हाँ बोलिए।
ये देखिए कंज्यूमर कोर्ट का फैसला।
ये कागज किसी और को दिखाना, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा।
अब जरूर होगा। अदालत का आदेश न मानने पर तुम्हारे खिलाफ वारंट जारी हो सकता है।
तो क्या?
तो तुम्हें 3 वर्ष तक का कारावास या 10,000 रूपए तक का जुर्माना या दोनों हो सकते हैं। समझे?
समझ गया।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
क्या आप ऐसे चलते हैं? क्या आप सीढ़ियों पर ऐसे चढ़ते हैं? क्या आप ऐसे लिखते हैं? जब आप उल्टा चलते नहीं, सीढ़ियों पर उल्टा चढ़ते उतरते नहीं, उल्टा लिखते नहीं, तो फिर उल्टी साइड में ड्राइव क्यों करते हैं? सही लेन में चलें, यातायात के सभी नियमों का पालन करें। हर साल करीब 1.5 लाख लोग हादसों की भेंट चढ़ जाते हैं। उल्टी लेन में ड्राइविंग यानी हादसे को न्योता।
यूं तो इंसान पूरी जिंदगी अच्छे और बुरे कर्म करता है, लेकिन मृत्यु के बाद भी नेत्रदान करके इंसान महादान का पुण्य कमा सकता है। नेत्रदान करके नेत्रहीनों की अंधेरी जिंदगी में उजाला भर सकते हैं आप। नेत्रदान महादान।
अधिक जानकारी के लिए निकटतम नेत्र बैंक, मेडिकल कॉलेज या जिला अस्पताल से संपर्क करें। नेत्रदान महादान।
Welcome back. From the poor farmers to now nabbing the rich cats. The question there on black money in Swiss banks, something which is listed in today's question list. And what's certainly very interesting is that following some sort of debate that we saw in the country, there have been a number of exchanges and agreements that have been signed between India and Switzerland, one of the tax havens. And interestingly, India has been asking Switzerland to provide details of all those people from India holding those accounts in Swiss banks, but it's really not getting enough response from there. But Dr. Solanki, how do you look at the RBI move to curb black money, prevent circulation of fake notes? RBI said that they would withdraw circulation of all the currency notes that were issued prior to 2005. One of the major objectives was, of course, control black money circulation.
No, we welcome this move to change the more than 500 notes prior to 2005. It will definitely put some control ban on the black money within the country and the fake money also. But what about the black money in the Swiss bank or other tax havens places? See, I feel proud to say that our leader, L.K. Advani ji, was the first to address this issue during the election campaign of 2009. And after he addressed this issue, this issue came into the knowledge of the people of the country, and huge amount of the money is lying there. I think we should get the names of the names whose monies are deposited there, and we should try to bring with full sincerity to bring back to India.
Okay, Mr. Haq, we are talking about 9,000 crore rupees, which were in fact found to be in Swiss banks at the end of 2012. We are just talking about Swiss banks right now.
Right. That point I'm going to make that 58 countries worldwide have signed this multilateral convention on mutual administrative assistance in tax matters. And you are talking about India holds 19,000 crore, that is 2.18 billion Swiss francs. Now, if you go through the picture, Global Financial Integrity in December 2012 has given the picture telling that India saw black money of 123 billion from 2001 to 2010. And India ranks 8 and is among the top 10 developing countries with illicit funds outflow of $1.6 billion. Now, if this is the situation, what is the role of the government? Just to, at curbing black money and prevention of circulation of fake notes prior to 2005, this will serve no purpose if government does not show the real intention to bring back those black money. And really, government tells these things, government does the other. Because black money is a serious thing. That creates a parallel economy. And if you see, this thing is not born out of 1 or 2 years. Even if I give one data to you, telling that the total outflow of black money from India since independence till 2010 is $230 billion. And the aggregate value of illicit assets held by the Indian for 1947 to 2010 is estimated $487 billion. Now remember the amount. It's like a parallel economy in the country, and what government did. So this kind of piecemeal work will not do anything. Government should show the political will and bring back all the black money and also punish the perpetrators.
So I will land on one point. Prevention is better than cure. After happening so many commissions and so many inquiries, so many bilateral relations to bring back that money, several things are going on. Why can't our government think taxation at source, which is being followed in many of the countries? In very olden days, this was not possible because of the innocency, ignorancy, illiteracy and poverty. Now, in many cases, we are flowing our money through bank account. Even a woman getting in a small loan in the DACRA group, she is also, and a poor fellow who has been given a IAA house has also been asked to open an account and transferring that money. So we are transferring money to their accounts. Why can't we think of, as a responsible parliamentarian, to bring a reform to tax at source so that this will give an answer to our whole discussion? Thank you.
I'll take concluding remarks from you on this.
I want to say three things about the issue of black money. First of all, I want to compliment the RBI and its governor for banning currency notes which are earlier than 2005. This is a good measure to curb black money. We know that a lot of black money exists in cash form. But the real problem is not this. As you know, most black money is involved in the real estate sector. And until we can reform the real estate sector, and until we can reform political funding, we are not addressing the root cause of the problem. So this will temporarily have some effect, and then it will again lead to more black money being generated, until and unless we make some political reforms, until and unless we make real estate sector reforms, because lots of black money has been put into that. Now regarding Swiss bank, everybody knows that lots of money from Indian sources has been placed in many offshore tax havens like Switzerland. These have come under scrutiny. There are news reports that the government of India is putting pressure on Switzerland. But I think everybody knows that if at all there is any pressure, it is very gentle pressure.
Right, right.
There are specific steps to be taken. You can't make generic requests. You cannot make general demands.
Right.
You have to do investigation here and make specific requests
with
specific names. That is not being done, and until that is done, there will be no result.
Okay, fine. So on that note, we'll say goodbye to you all. Certainly our members of Parliament have got great ideas about reforms, but we'll certainly have to see if the House functions smoothly, and we hear much of it from the Lok Sabha. That's all we have for you in this edition of Agenda. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.